President Biden's age is becoming more and more of an issue with voters, but Democrats, well, they don't want to believe that. They want to put their head in the sand. They went as far as to attack The Daily Show's Jon Stewart as he pointed out the obvious, and that is Biden is very, very old, and he's having some very, very old problems. I've got independent newspaper publisher Rick Outzen with me to talk about what's happening on these issues. Rick, you've got the most significant progressive independent newspaper in the state of Florida. That's without question. I appreciate you coming on. This story bothers me on so many levels. You've seen Jon Stewart, who has been the voice for progressive politics for decades, or Bill Maher, who was also progressive voice for decades. They say anything that attacks that progressive, anything, and all of a sudden, it's a tax city. I mean, it's wrong. I mean, it's wrong. We're talking about, he had a 20-minute show and he said one thing about both Biden and Trump, and the friggin' snowflakes go crazy.
Well, and we know that Jon Stewart has been the news source for our daughters, for our kids. They look to him to help decipher what the news means, and he is speaking to them. When I look at our readers, we're millennials, Gen Z, that's the way we skew. And they constantly talk about the age of both candidates. It bothers them. They may be progressive, they may be conservative, but they're concerned about the age of both the candidates.
No matter how profoundly true the statement is, okay? Right. No matter how profoundly true it is, they still go off the rails. Now, I want to ask you this. You have one of the leading independent newspapers in Florida. It's a progressive newspaper,
right?
Clearly progressive.
Yes.
Do you see this same thing when you do a story that it doesn't fall in line with the progressive mentality or that what I call progressive headline thinking? Do they go this crazy?
Oh, they do. I mean, the way the social media works now, it's an echo chamber. And if you get out of that echo chamber, if you challenge a thought, if you say that you agree with, in the state of Florida, it's DeSantis' world. And if I agree with DeSantis on one point, then we're going to get
even though it may be right. I mean,
right.
Rick, you have been with me all the way back to Air America.
Right.
You have followed what I've done, exclusively progressive. Would you agree?
Right.
In there, if I do a story and I say the same thing that Stewart says about Biden, who obviously is not qualified to be president of the United States. He just isn't. Everybody sees it, but I call them kind of the snowflake Democrats. They're so tied to their identity. They're so tied to their tribal politics that they go apoplectic when you say anything about that. When Farron's on the show and we say the obvious, oh my God, they go nuts. What's that about? What's happening that they can't, this childlike thinking, where does it come from and what do we do about it?
Well, part of it is scrolling, they're used to scrolling through, seeing a headline, reacting to a headline quickly without even reading the article. That's part of it. The other part is they relish going after somebody and seeing if they can make them change their idea.
As if that's going to change you or change me.
But that's, right. That's,
it's ridiculous.
And Jon Stewart's reaction was perfect. He goes back and showed the joke. I mean, this was a joke, folks. But this is what people are talking about, the age of the two candidates.
Yeah.
But we're at this democracy. I love his line. Democracy is where discussion dies. It's because we can't discuss anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my take on it is this, it really is childlike. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, I'm going to take my ball, leave the sandbox, and never come back. We tell them around here and I know you know this, goodbye. Don't let the damn door hit you on the butt. And, we've got more than 1 million subscribers, and we continue to grow. And apparently, there are plenty of people out there that agree with that. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on your way out. Because we're going to say it. And Jon Stewart's going to continue to say it. And Bill Maher's going to continue to say it. And TYT, they're going to continue to say it. We have to retool the way we think about these stories, don't we?
But the way that we've always looked at things, and Mike, the way you look at it in America's Lawyer and how y'all approach it is the same way I do. I want to upset you. That's how we begin
Well,
a discussion.
yeah.
The discussion begins that I challenged an idea that you have, or I pushed you a little bit further.
In other words, it's an advancement when you say, Pap, you're a damn idiot and you're wrong. Think about this. I consider that an advancement.
Because after you punch me, then we have the discussion. But that's how discussion happens: is you push somebody's idea, something they're not comfortable about, and they get to discuss it. And that's what humor is about. That's what satire is about.
How do you say to Chappelle, who all he's done is comedy in his whole life?
Right.
So he attacks trans and he has fun, makes jokes about trans or gay, whatever it may be. If you don't want to hear it, walk out.
Right.
If you don't agree with it, don't buy his ticket. But he has the right to say it.
Right.
It's not like the standard is the First Amendment, you can't yell fire in a theater. Right. I mean, that's basically it. Don't put people in the theater, don't put them in jeopardy. But it's gotten to where we have, I don't know if it's generational or not. I don't see it. I'm seeing it more and more.
And I see it across age groups.
That's what I want to ask you. That's what I want to ask you.
You look at the core base of Donald Trump. You look at his base. They're not going to accept any information that
which is an older.
It's an older group.
Yeah,
it's a less educated, white male primarily. And they're older.
It's changing.
Yeah, that's true.
And Democrats are asleep on that too.
Right.
That demographic is changing with Trump, which is a little scary if you think about it.
Well, it is, and then you think on the progressive side that they're younger, but everyone's used to hearing. They want you to say what they want you to say, not what you want to say.
Yeah, and if you don't, it's easy. Turn off the friggin' station.
Really?
Don't buy the ticket. How about on college campuses? These are educated kids, supposedly.
Right.
A professor, says, well, we're going to have this speaker. Well, this speaker might not agree with what the norm, what the norm is and thought on that campus. Right. So they tell him he can't come. You can't speak. My God, we can't listen to you. It's going to cause us some kind of mental harm. Well, hell, the mental harm is already there, you know? I mean, what's your reaction to that? And have you covered stories like that in the Independent?
Well, you're looking here in Florida. It's a different world, but you look at both sides are trying to figure out if it's not their voice they want to hear. It's okay to protest. It's okay to do a protest outside to say you disagree with it. But allow the person to speak because that's how the discussion happens.
What do you do when you get these letters? I'm not going to get your paper anymore. Okay, exactly. That's it. That has to be the attitude.
Exactly.
That has to be the attitude.
Exactly.
Or else this is never going to change.
Right.
And you just have to say, well,
something like that.
Something like that.
That it had helped dirty money flow through its branches around the world, including at least 800...
Plaintiffs allege that the defendants provided money and medical goods to terrorist groups Hezbollah and Jaish al-Mahdi.
This is a well-organized business for these individuals that carry out these attacks. Terrorism is a business, and they run it like a business.
They knew about what was going on for a decade. They absolutely, no question about it, knew that HSBC was washing money. They had every reason to understand it was for terrorism and it was for drug cartels. Took no action whatsoever.
These banks are involved. Their accounts are connected, and they're using them to mask the transactions. The more complicated they can make the transactions, the more distance they can put between the bad guys and a seemingly legitimate purpose of these funds.
They pay $1.9 billion, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what they've made, and nobody goes to prison. These CEOs, these bankers that made this decision, they're safe at home. They know what they've done. It's resulted in the death of Americans, contractors and soldiers, not just hundreds, but thousands. And we look the other way because they don't look like criminals. The die is cast. The people that are responsible are on Wall Street.
And they don't look like criminals. it's almost a suspension of disbelief. Sometimes I'll have people call me and say, is this real? Do they really get away with this? Yeah, they do.